From the studios of Foxboro Cable Access, located in the center of Foxboro, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxboro.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Around Foxboro, where we learn about the people, places, and things that make Foxboro the gem of Norfolk County. My name is Mark Rivard, and I am privileged to have as my guest today, Zianette Frost. Welcome, Zianette.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about because I know you're going to talk about your business, but tell a little bit about your background, your story.
Yeah, so my story I think is quite interesting. I moved to Massachusetts without family, friends, a job, or anything. I came for adventure. I wanted to build a new life for myself. And so I was in college my last year, almost graduated, and I thought that I should try traveling to a few states and even abroad to see where I wanted my next home to be. When I came to Massachusetts, I fell in love with it, and I decided that it would be my home. So I came here without knowing anyone, and that's part of the foundation to why I started In a Pickle. But here I am, and along the way I've worked at MIT for Nobel Laureate, which is a pretty neat experience.
That is incredible, yeah.
I've obtained my MBA, and I've married, fallen in love, and now I have 3 kids and a dog.
3 kids and a dog, the
3
American
kids and
dream.
a dog. That's right,
Yes.
I'm living the American dream.
So I've also seen you've worked with a lot of huge companies. Apple, Starbucks, Petco, one of my favorites, Walmart.
Yes. I've had the privilege of being the only female executive at a previous company that I worked for. Wow. Yes, that was a pretty exciting experience. Prior to that, the company I worked for, I grew too quickly. And so I was recruited by the founder and CEO of the next company I worked for, which was at the time known as Essential Service Corporation. He decided to just grab me right away to work for him because of my reputation. And that was in that role where I was able to meet with executives of Walmart, Apple, etc.
So you worked in many different industries. So is it a management position you did, or management?
Yeah, so I have my MBA. My specialization is international marketing. Okay. So my role has been marketing mainly. I served as director of marketing and then as the voice of marketing for the company. So I would say that that's mainly my specialization. But I grew the company by $1 million the first year that I was with them. And so as it turned out, I was pretty good at sales too.
I guess.
Yeah.
Can you help me with my budget and make that grow to $1 million? I don't know.
Sure thing. If I believe in the product or services of a company, then I can grow them pretty fast, but I have to believe in them first.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know if you want to believe in mine, but
so we'll talk.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So, I guess, tell me a little bit about the company. In a Pickle?
Yeah, so In a Pickle is a name that came to mind because we all have found ourselves in a pickle at some point. And so my company is basically a service that exists in order to serve as an unbiased ear to people who have a sticky situation that they just aren't sure who to share it with. So now In a Pickle exists to serve as a service for people to vent to confidentially about anything.
Anything?
Anything, yes.
So I can vent about my job, I can vent about the Foxboro Rotary. Oh, I didn't say that. Sorry, folks. I can vent about anything you want.
Work politics, relationships, aging parents, stage of life, infertility in some cases, parenting, you name it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Politics, that'd be a long one.
That would be a long one. We'd have to book a few sessions for that.
Yeah. So what made you change, careers all of a sudden to go from international marketing, management, with these big companies to starting your own business?
So full disclosure, I still independently consult during the daytime. Okay. So by day, I'm a strategist and problem solver.
But by night,
I'm an unbiased ear. And really it's by whenever I have a session booked that I can turn that part of myself on.
Oh, that's excellent.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
So I guess, tell me, I guess why did you decide to choose that though?
Remember how I had mentioned that partly part of my background into coming here is something that helped to spark the company, the idea for it at least. So when I moved to Massachusetts without having friends or family or network, I went through a few things that were quite interesting and stressful at times, and I didn't know enough people to share those things with them. And so I often wished that I had someone that I knew that I could just vent to. And so that was what laid the foundation to the idea. But really throughout the course of my life, people have always bared their souls to me. They've always just given me everything that's really intimate and trusted me with those things. And I think it's because they recognize me as a vault and I don't gossip or anything like that. And so because people have bared their souls to me and it's something that I thought was a need, I thought that this would be a neat direction to go. However, it was confirmed that I should do this when in 1 week, 3 of my friends disclosed really intimate things about their lives. And I can share what those things are because it's confidential. I won't share their names or anything. But one of my friends was pregnant at the time and she shared that her husband was interested in moving to another state. She didn't want to move. Her family was where she was at. And so that was something that she shared with me, which was really stressful. But she couldn't talk to her spouse about it anymore because it was a source of contention. And another friend had shared that she felt that she married the wrong person. She wasn't interested in having intimacy with him anymore, which of course was a challenge in their relationship given the importance of that. And the other friend shared that her husband approached her and told her that he was no longer attracted to her after having several kids. And he even asked her to have a breast augmentation, which was really hurtful to her. And so verbatim, after just sharing that with me, she said, I feel so much better after venting. So I thought, you know, it's time that I do something with this. It's time that I offer my unbiased ears for other people to just release those stresses too. And the company was born.
Wow. Yeah, because there were a lot of things that you can't even tell your best friend. Because right away, even though you've known them for many, many years, they may still judge you or they may tell you what to do. You just offer a service that says, hey, I'm going to listen to you.
I'm going to listen.
I'm going to let you bare your soul to me.
That's right. Without worry, without fear that it's going to go to the wrong person or be gossiped about. Just unload and move on. Don't let those thoughts marinate or be the cause of an anxiety.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's a new service. I mean, people will go to a psychiatrist and they'll pay hundreds, thousands of dollars, but that they're trying to analyze them while you're just sitting there and you're just being a good, an
active listener. That's right.
An active listener. And a lot of people don't listen these days.
It's true. Yeah. And actually, I'm happy that you mentioned that a lot of people go to psychologists or therapists because I think it's important to note that I'm not a therapist. I'm not trained in any way, and that I respect that role and still see a very good and important need for those roles. And in fact, I long-term hope to work together with them so that when people vent to me, if I see that there's a need for them to be helped in a different way, I could refer them to a slew of therapists or psychologists who I have then built relationships with. And so I think that it's important to note that there's still a need for them, absolutely. And I'm in no way trying to serve as a substitute.
No, it's a different service, really. I mean, a psychiatrist, there's always issues where it could be something that needs to be managed through, some sort of drugs, or it needs to be there could be a mental illness, but in most cases, people's everyday gripes or their venting is just normal everyday things, or it's like you said, some really important circumstances in their life that they just can't share to anybody else.
That's right. And I think actually to touch on that a little bit with the normal things, I think so many of us feel that we're alone and we're not. And that's actually one of the neat things that I've been able to see as I've offered myself as an ear. And I've been able to comfort people in situations that might be similar to others by saying, you might feel alone in this situation, but you're not. And that's really comforting to them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And recently I went to a She's Local conference in Quincy. It was their first conference. Women were so excited over my service, and one shared with me right away that she was just jumped by her boyfriend, and she's 52 years old, but my traffic soared. So there is a need. People are saying it's pretty creative, and I think that's actually a challenge too. I'm creating awareness right now. People don't really know to think of someone like me. And so I exist for anyone who needs.
You're here.
I'm here.
Well, I mean, just look at the way the world is today, especially, I mean, just looking at the U.S., all the stresses we have, financial stresses, political stresses. I didn't say that. But all the things that are going on, and it seems like it bears down on some people, and sometimes you just need an outlet.
Yes.
I'm for one. I may end up being one of your customers because I know I have a lot of stress and a lot of things I want to vent.
That'd be great.
Which I can't say on Foxboro Cable Access.
And I'm glad that you said that, Mark, because we all have something, and that's the truth, right?
Yeah.
If the things that I mentioned didn't resonate with the people listening, I'm sure they can think of something that does.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So has there been anything that you've just said, and you don't have to, no specifics, no names, but anything that somebody just, you didn't know what to say, or you didn't know what to,
So
you ever been tongue-tied or?
Well, I will say that I'm more of a listener and I don't offer my opinion unless I
Right.
think that I can offer it. But I will share a funny situation
Like
that
funny
someone
stories.
called me with. Yeah. So it was funny but tricky. And so a mom called me because her son was suspended from school. He's a 5th grader. He ended up sharing pictures of butts with his peers. And the teachers were part of that.
Oh.
And so the tricky situation was that that son also has ADHD. And
okay.
he didn't take his medication that day. The dad had forgotten to give him the medication. And so the pickle was, what do I do, right? I mean, should I talk to him seriously about this or get mad at him? And my response was that I really thought she should have a conversation with her son in order to understand what his level of understanding was with what he did, and gauge from there whether or not he was aware enough in order to have a consequence, or gauge whether or not it was all a matter of impulsivity relevant to his ADHD.
Wow.
And so that's my parenting experience at work, given that I have 3 kids.
Yep.
And so I was able to speak to that. However, in instances when someone calls me with something like the 52-year-old who shared that she was just dumped by her boyfriend, I can be compassionate about that and empathetic, and not necessarily offer advice about
Right.
being in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was enough for her, just for me to listen and to give that to someone.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah.
And an interesting story too.
Yeah. I hope it made some people laugh.
Oh, it made me laugh.
Yeah. And I think and hope that she's laughing about it too.
I'm sure she is, and I'm sure the husband is also making sure that the medicine is being taken
Yes.
on a daily basis.
Reminders are being set everywhere.
Just keep that image in his mind of the butts. Yeah. So I also see you do involved in a lot of nonprofit organizations as well. Keeps
Yes.
you busy. So what kind of organizations are you involved in?
So the main one that's near and dear to my heart is Darkness to Light. I'm a child sex abuse prevention facilitator, and that's really important to me for obvious reasons. So if ever there's an opportunity to train a group or to talk to parents, then I'm happy to offer the information that I've learned.
Yeah, it's very, very important in this community. Some of the past history in Foxboro, that Darkness to Light has become one of the most important programs that we have.
Yes, absolutely. And I was trained here and sponsored by Foxboro for my training. So half of my training was covered by Foxboro.
That's
so
awesome.
Thank you, Foxboro.
Thank you, Foxboro.
Thank you, Foxboro. Yeah.
So what else can you tell us? Anything else you want to talk about? You also practice American Sign Language?
Yes. I know sign language. It's actually a beautiful language to me. I mainly love to sign in song. It's something that I studied in college. I took American Sign Language 3, and so I used to go to deaf community, like silent dinners and all. And recently I was reached out to teach American Sign Language 1, but because I'm not certified, then that didn't work out. But it was nice to have been thought of.
Do you ever think about getting certified?
It's been a thought, but there's so many interests and you have to hone in on a few of them, right? And so I'm sticking to what I know is working for me right now. But maybe eventually, who knows? Yeah.
Maybe you can get some clients coming to In a Pickle that can't speak or are deaf, and
Maybe.
you put some of that to use.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the process.
Okay. Yeah, great.
So the important thing I'd like to know is that these are remote sessions. So no one sees me face to face, which helps people bear anything or unload if they're uncomfortable. So that helps with the confidentiality component. But I wanted to say that you book your sessions online, and basically I make the call to you from there. So you can do this from the comfort of your home. You don't have to commute anywhere, drive anywhere.
Nice.
Yes, I think that's really
Comfort.
convenient. Exactly, very comfortable in that sense, or convenient. And then another thing I'd like to say is that I'm offering gift cards online. So if you know of someone who's lost a companion, like a dog or a cat, in many cases we aren't sure what to do for something like that, but it could be shown as a nice gesture to say, hey, I know you're going through something hard. I know of this company known as In a Pickle. Why don't you talk to them for a few minutes? Which I actually I wanted to emphasize, because I recently spoke to someone who lost a dog and was grieving, and she had shared that she was really embarrassed to even talk about it at work because her colleague had lost a parent. And so it paled in comparison to that, but it was still important to her because it was part of her family.
I went through that in the last couple of years myself, and
yeah.
It's apples and oranges because they're basically both members of the family, and everybody grieves in their own way.
That's right.
So
then you understand it firsthand.
I understand it 100%.
Yeah, and so having been in that situation, but also having known people in that situation, sometimes you just don't know what to do, right? Do I send them flowers? Like, what do you do for someone who's lost a dog or cat? Well, now you have an idea. So my condolences, first and foremost, to anyone who's gone through that or is experiencing it, but now there's something or someone that they can call.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah.
So it's all done, like you said, all remotely? You can do it online, like a Skype or something like that?
Yes, so the process is that you book your session online, you pick a date that works for you, you pay via PayPal. Once you're paid and signed up, I send you a waiver, and then from there, I call on the said time. So it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope that people enjoy it, and there's no commitment, but you're welcome to call as many times as you'd like, meaning book as many times as you'd like. So no commitment, which is really convenient too, right? It can be a one and done situation, or you know what, I have a relationship that's a little tricky, and this is an ongoing thing, maybe because you have to see that person more than you'd like, and so you can call me before, visiting or even afterwards.
Yeah, it's not one of those I have to schedule, all right, you have to schedule 6 meetings and this, we got to talk. No, it's, you need to schedule something, let's do it.
That's right.
And then maybe something else comes up in your life 3 years later that you do it again.
You do it again, exactly. And I think that for those who are pregnant and aren't able to share yet, this is a neat service for you, because I know that for moms who are expecting, they're excited to share but can't yet just because there's that time, that safe period. It's 12 weeks, and so in many cases within that time period, they just want to unload that, and so I can hold your secret for you. A happy secret.
That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So you want to tell everybody where they can get this, where your website is and
Absolutely.
everything, give them the information, and
yes.
we'll get it on the screen for them.
Thank you. So my website is inapick.com, like in a pickle without the LE. And in there you'll find information about my Instagram account as well as my Facebook. So you can follow me on Instagram if you'd like, which is Unbiased Ear, because I'm an unbiased ear and In a Pickle was taken. But you'll find that information on my website first and foremost, which is inapick.com.
That's great.
Thank you. And thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. And it was very informational. And, once again, if you need an ear, somebody to talk to,
come to me.
Zianette's the person.
I look forward to hearing from everyone.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, that'll do it for this edition of Around Foxboro. Once again, thanks to Zianette Frost for being our guest. And my name is Mark Rivard, and I hope you have a great day.